Welcome to This Week in Vegas, a bettor's view. I'm your host, Marco D'Angelo, along with my partner in crime, Vegas Runner. Each and every week, we just shoot the breeze about what's going on in Vegas, what we've got to look forward this week. Obviously, this is wild card weekend in the NFL.
BCS championship
BCS
in college.
championship game. Quick note on the BCS championship game. Make sure you go and look at the Alabama-Texas preview. Big news from Vegas Runner and myself. First time ever at pregame.com, we're releasing both of our bowl games of the year
together
on the same game. It's the same play. We're selling it together with an unbelievable offer, almost as close to a guarantee as you can get. Check it out. Go to the video. You can check it out at pregame.tv, and it is the preview Alabama-Texas. Now, this week in Vegas, we always, we like to tell you the stories and things going on. Vegas Runner, New Year. This was my first New Year's Eve.
Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. We sat midnight on our balcony.
Watched fireworks.
Looks back, it's unfreaking believable. Because City Center just, they're first. They just had unbelievable. Sitting there watching everything, and that was a great time. I was, out here in Vegas, and actually Friday is my 2-year anniversary for moving to Vegas. January 8th, I came out here 2 years ago, so we'll see if we can tear it up this weekend.
Did you gamble?
Did I when I first came out here?
No, for New Year's.
New Year's, I didn't gamble on New Year's Eve, but the day before, after we actually last Wednesday, after we taped the podcast on Wednesdays, it's a long day under
you
these
went and
lights.
Played poker.
Went and played some poker, and I'll tell you, we always like to tell you the stories here today. I had two things happen to me within 15 minutes at the poker table that I never had happen. I had a monster pot where I flopped top two pair, okay, and there was 5 people in the pot. So, and I was last to act. Perfect. You dream of flopping a big hand and being last to act.
Sure.
And guy throws out a bet. All 3 other people called the bet. Comes to me. I say, I'm just going to slow play here. I'm just going to call. I'm not going to, tip my hand how strong I am. The flop was 8-9 Jack, and I had Jack 9. The turn comes a king. Now I'm a little scared of the king a little bit, and it goes check, check, check all the way around to me. And I said, well, I got to make a move here.
Now at least eliminate some of the people.
I don't want people drawing to straights and stuff. And now 2 cards to the flush were out there.
You got to narrow it down.
So I bet a little over half pot size bet, and it folds to one guy who moves all in on me. And now I'm like.
And there was a 2 to a flush.
There's 2
down,
to a flush.
High card.
There's a possible straight, but it would have been a gutter. It wasn't a
overcards to your 2 pair.
Overcard. If a guy's playing King Jack, the worst hand I was worried about was King Jack. People. If the guy hit the Jack and had a king kicker, and I'm worried about that. But I'm pot committed to the hand. And I think it through and everything. I said, okay, I got to go ahead and
call it.
I said, I call and I go. Did
you have them covered?
I had them covered, and I go, did you flop a set? Is what I said. And he goes, no. He jumps up. He goes, I got the straight, and he flips his hand over, and I look at his hand. He's got pocket 10s.
And
I says, you don't have a straight.
Not yet, my friend.
He looks down. He goes, oh, my God, I thought I had the straight. And he thought the king gave him the straight. He needs the queen, not the king. What comes on the river? Just boom, right smack on the river comes the queen. I look at the guy, and I just go, well played. Well played. And he's like, oh my God. He's like, I'm sorry. I said,
what are you gonna do? The guy made a mistake. He thought he had you beat.
So take a horrendous beat. So I'm sitting there. I do a radio show on Wednesday nights, and so I got to leave the M by 10 to get home and do the radio. I already got all my notes for the radio because I do the radio show. I do a lot of the stuff that we did on the podcast that day. So I got all my notes for the show. So I'm sitting there, and I'm steaming. I'm on frickin' tilt and everything. And I get pocket fives. I make a raise, and it folds all the way around the last guy. I thought he was going to fold, and I was just going to take down the blinds. He calls. Well, thank God he called, because I flopped quads. 2 5s come on the flop. Well, the M has promotion going. It's called the Quad Pyramid. And flopping the quads, I got a $1,000 bonus right there on the spot for flopping the quads. But if that guy folds, I never see the flop, you know. So it ended up being a good night, but it was just in a matter of 15 minutes.
How things change.
It's
Vegas,
Vegas. You know, but that's
from
it.
Prince to pauper, from pauper to prince, just like that.
But this week we got NFL playoffs, and I don't know. I've been doing this 30 years. You know, you've been, you know, almost as long personally betting. Can you ever remember a week where 3 of the 4 games played last week in the seven?
And I actually have a friend, a very good friend, who is one of them stat geeks, and he is currently working on trying to find out right now. So when we get to the wild card weekend, fellas, if I have any stats on that, I'll pass it along in the forum or in a blog form. He's working on that right now to see if there is any trends to that. I mean, obviously there's trends to teams playing each other 3 times because we're having that with Dallas, Philly. But I want to see, as far as what happened, you know, what you said with them playing each other. But what I want to say is you need to throw that away. I mean, we said going into the final week, put your power ratings aside, handicap it like no other week. And now you got to bring them power ratings back, fellas. You need to approach it differently. Once again, you got to handicap playoff atmosphere, but you need to get rid of what you saw in the final week.
We're gonna do a little promo here. We'll be covering all 4 playoff games at pregame.tv. We're gonna break down all 4 games, and we'll give a free pick.
Absolutely.
VR will have a free pick. I'll have a free pick, and of course RJ Bell will have one, and we'll talk about it. But you do. This is a week that, you know, because of last week, it's going to set up some nice opportunities because the public is going to overreact to things they saw last week. Now, some of these things that you saw last week are meaningful.
Exactly.
You've got to be able to look at the games and have the knowledge when you watch the games to know what was real and what wasn't real. And we'll talk about that in great detail in each of the 4 games. And then the 3 games that played that played last week, the 4th game, Baltimore and New England, even though they're not in the same division, they played this year as well. They played in week 4 of the season. So all 4 games are rematches. 3 of the 4 from last week, and 1 of the 4 is a 3rd-time hookup. So you've got the whole gauntlet of handicapping.
I mean, there's going to be trends
in 1 week,
and
it's a situation, like I said, you know, 30 years, I've seen everything, and I've seen these situations happen individually, but never had them all converge on one slate like it is this week.
The other thing I wanted to get across real quick, right now for the next week to 10 days, be very cautious if you're going to be betting basketball, because there's going to be a lot of bettors moving over from football into basketball. The books know this year in and year out, and what they do is start making adjustments. They weigh public perception a little heavier, and what I've seen is the wise guys haven't even caught on to that yet, and we've seen a lot of moves over these last 3 days that went against them, where the wise guys got buried. They got killed. Last night they bet under in Texas. They steamed it 2-3 times. They scored 200 points. And you got to be careful, because right now everyone's adjusting their numbers. I myself am staying as selective as ever. Real quick before we end it, because I know we're running on time, I just wanted to congratulate Fez, who's going to be watching our show. Congratulations. He won the Hilton 2nd straight year, unprecedented, and even took down the money talk. So congratulations, Fez. At least it was one of us that took it down, so I'm proud of you, brother. All
right. Well, that's This Week in Vegas, and I love this segment, guys, and you know,
I love this time of the year, dude.
All right,
playoff.
This is Marco.
Limits are up, raised.
This is Marco D'Angelo. He's Vegas Runner. We'll talk to you next week with This Week in Vegas.